Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stockminer, Brian Johnson. In the windy hills of South Dakota, I don't know if you guys knew, some of you might not know, but my dog had puppies lately, and they're about 6 weeks old, and we had them outside today and had them in the front yard, which is kind of on a slant, and the wind was so strong it was, it was blowing them down the hill. So I shouldn't laugh. They weren't hurt. It was actually really funny. Watch them kind of tumble, tumble, tumble. Yeah, nobody was hurt though, so don't worry. We're not harming puppies over here. Not built that way. But it was cute. All right, the markets were not, well, they were cute. I mean, they tried to be cute. We started gap down, then we ran up, and then we ran right back down again. So we're kind of seeing a reversal here. Options expiration week. This is something I talk about quite a bit. Highly recommend you guys play this week very carefully. Starting usually Tuesday into Wednesday, we start to see a lot of volatility enter the market. You just never know what you're going to get when you wake up in the morning. You'll think you're in a really strong long position or a short position. You'll wake up the next day and we've gapped up or down, and you're like, now what do I do? So I always recommend people be careful during this particular week. Today, we saw a little bit of that volatility. By the end of the day, well, we started the day down. By the end of the day, we ended up right about where we started the day, to be quite honest. The Bulls tried to salvage it, but this time it didn't work. You'll see that right at the beginning of the day. This was especially true of the Nasdaq. If you guys watched the Nasdaq, it was down like 40 points to open the day. The next time I checked, it was down like 8, something like that. Just a huge move straight upwards. And then by the end of the day, it's down 46 points. So it wasn't enough to light a fire under the Bulls. They didn't really want to run with it this time. Maybe they'll run with it next time, but they didn't do anything with it this time. Very curious to watch that, because we've always seen the Bears kind of drag it down, and at the end of the day, the Bulls push it back up. Today, not so. Today was the opposite. Bears drug it back down, and there really wasn't a lot of fighting from the Bulls coming into the end of the day. I'm sitting here looking at the market internals, and they all just really confirmed what we saw in the markets today. It was pretty clean, both on the charts and on the market internals. Good day for day trading, and not a bad day if you were short the market, but overall, actually a really decent day to be day trading today. As you can see, we're back into some lower support levels. We had the Nasdaq break lower support. We did not see that on the Dow or the SPX. It's awful close on the SPX though. But I'm giving the benefit to the Bulls right here. We'll show you that chart when we get to it. Here you can see us holding this 200 very, very nicely. This was something that I told my subscribers yesterday to really, really watch carefully coming into today. This would, I thought, be a pretty strong line of support if we got down there. Sure enough, it was. Pretty close to twice today we saw this move. More importantly, this move right here. A strong edge to the downside. You can see it bounce right off that 200. So that'll still continue to be support into tomorrow. Things to be watching there. Breaks down below this area, though, could now start to give you a little bit of a shot to the short side if you're not already into the short side. Back up to the long side here. We got to get above these moving averages, and then maybe the Bulls can take over. If it's going to happen, it might happen on some big whatever news announcement, and you wake up the next day and we're up 80 points, 100 points on the Dow to start the day, something like that. And that might be what it takes to really get things lit again. Right now, we are down. We have not only broken, but we have now closed below the 20-day moving average. This is something that we haven't seen since back here in late April. Look what the Bulls did. They did not waste any time in getting it back above. Now, they did have extra support below it. That support is now way back down here. So it is... Any continued bearishness here, back below this level here, could take us back into that 50-day moving average before this is all over. Still doesn't necessarily break anything from a bigger time frame bull standpoint, but it is going to start breaking things down on some of the smaller time frames. You can see here in the Dow resting below that 20. I'll give the Bulls a day or so to get it back up above that. But any continued bearishness tomorrow may give you entries, if you're not already short, into that short side. Here's the Nasdaq 60-minute. And look, we came down, broke a level of support here, right into another level of old support back here at 2330, where it decided to stop for a while. The next level below is about 2300-ish or so. 2300, 2310. That's going going to be the next level below us. So once again, moves coming into tomorrow could bring us down into these levels and potentially even lower. Taking a look at the daily on the NASDAQ, you can see where we were able to hold the 20-day moving average nicely, but 40 points to start the day down. That was a major difference from where the rest of the markets were. The rest of the markets finished, the S&P finished at 0.62% down. The Dow was about 0.4%. The NASDAQ 1.6% down. Just a huge change from what we saw in the rest of the other markets. But where did it stop? Where to be expected, right at the 50-day moving average. Matter of fact, holding beautifully right here for the time being. You know, we get back below these levels. Here we go again. This was a mark back here. The 20 was certainly a mark back here to be watching. All of them broken today. From a weekly, guess where else we're stuck? The 20-week moving average. Okay, so still back to talking about now, yet again, and for good reason, the 20-week moving averages. Notice how the last time we broke it was here. Bulls wasting no time in getting it back above here and haven't closed below it since. Matter of fact, it hasn't closed below the 20 since August. That was the last close below the 20-week moving average. It launched, it got above here, launched the following week, and really hasn't had, besides this close here, another close since then. So that is obviously something to be watching by the end of the week. Now, remember, these are weekly candles. Friday close is more important than where we go during the week. Is good to note, is good support, something to keep on your charts. However, make mention that it's not about where we go during the week, it's where we close by the end of the week on this particular chart. SPX 60 also showing that same type of weakness, getting in and around this 1330 area, which I was very cautious of. This was one of my lower areas. However, we just barely breached it by the end of the day. So I'm always so very cautious about entries at the very end of the day by 1 point or whatever it might be. Looking at the daily, though, you can see the bigger line, and that is below the 20-day moving average. It's also what we tested today. We came back up. High was 1343. The 20 is 1342. So you can see we got a test of that today, and that's where we started to run back down. A lot of selling coming in up at this point here. Breaking these lower levels, holding below these lower levels for the time being. Today's volume was okay. It's anything spectacular. Certainly not as strong as you want to see it from a bear standpoint. But once again, guys, you watch for these bearish moves tomorrow. Breaks of these lower levels here are your entries to the short side. VIX daily also showing us a move to the upside, 6.7%, getting us back into and around that 18 mark. Still not into 19, which is where I like to be, to get a little bit more on the bearish side on a more permanent basis. To get in there and to stay there is what I'm really looking for. So right now we're at the upper end of complacency. I think that's the best way for me to put it right now. We're just resting below what is very good, solid overhead support, and has been for the VIX for quite a while. So if you like to do technical analysis TA on the VIX, this is it right here. Your line is right here, watching for that to maybe break coming into the rest of the week if the bears can keep up the pressure. Apple. Wow. All right, my break for you was below the 340 mark. 345 mark, sorry. 344.50 and 345 were my shorts for you guys if you were following along. Consolidated sideways for half a millennium till we finally broke this lower line of support. It's what really started things off. The selling came in, bounced beautifully off the 200, back up to retest. The retest did not work. The bulls could not push it past it, and that's when the selling began again. So for those of you that took that short I recommended at 345 or 344.50, either one, you are in a fantastic trade. Guys were, what, 10 bucks into this thing. My break was actually right here. I took this short below this line. The more conservative was 345, which is where I like to be with my viewers. Regardless, doesn't matter. It's basically the same place, and you did very well on this trade. If you're still in it, stay with it. Stay with it. Just move your stop down and see if you can get this thing to fall. Now we are due for kind of a bounce down here. It's a pretty deep retracement so far. 332.50 is where I had support on my charts for the day. 330, what was the low today? 332.60. Wow. Okay, so 10 cents within that line. I don't have it drawn in here. It's just right here. But 332.50 from my daily trading aspect is what I was really watching today. We did touch it. Kind of bounced a little, but man, the bullishness just isn't there quite yet. So your next line below it will be around 330, and then we've got some room to go here. Look at the daily, and this is what we saw. Remember this big channel we followed down? This was a really, really nice looking bull flag as long as it stayed high. I was like, have to be a little bit more bullish on this. But once we broke these lines, it was game on to the short side for me. We saw the breakdown into this area here, and then today more continued weakness as we broke the 335 mark, heading for the Frisco Bay, if you like songs. Look at this. I mean, this thing is 325, 326, yeah, 327.50, I suppose. 327.50, I think, is a very, very good logical line to move, to definitely want to move stops, maybe take a little bit off the table if you're in this thing. But man, finally we get some movement in Apple, and a great trade it's been. So I hope you guys have played along. If you haven't, we'll have more opportunity. 327.50, 320 is another much deeper level to be watching right here. This is what we're seeing here is not good so far for the bulls on Apple. This looks like acceleration for the time being. Yeah, it's the beginning of the week, so we won't worry too much about it right now. FAS on a 60-minute also played out very well for us. We were in this thing below 28.50. There really wasn't any move to be done today. If you were either in it or you weren't in it from last Friday, if you've been playing along, nothing to do today. So if you're in it, just move your stops, put it up above 29 or something like that. See if we can get this thing to run to the short side. Your next entry isn't until we get back below about 27 or so. Just below 27 is an entry there again for some more potential weakness in the FAS. FAZ then, of course, was the opposite. We broke this triangle to the upside. 42 was my entry. If you're still in it, probably got a little bit scary for you today as it came back down. However, we're holding this overhead blue line. That's what I want to see. We didn't even actually touch that today. The moving averages are looking good right down here. I kind of like what I'm seeing. So if you're in this thing above 42, which I had been talking about for the last, 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever it might have been, I don't remember. Anyway, if you're in it above 42, stay with it, move your stop, yeah, just see if this thing will continue to show you some love. Same thing from FAS if you're short. Just move your stop and see if it'll actually continue down. Keep in mind, options expiration week, very volatile. Anything can and it probably will happen in the markets. You got to be ready for it. Okay. Okay, so let's see where we at now. Back to the Dow. We didn't do. Most of the stuff that I did last week I kept on, so I can show you this. BJRI, we tried to push above 48 and it didn't hold. We broke even or made little to nothing on this particular trade. Icon was another one we played last week. We got a good break up and above $24.25 was my break to the upside. We were stopped out on this trade for a little bit of a gain. Not much to talk about. The other ones that we took last week I kept on. I'm pretty pleased with either A, how they were setting up and just hadn't broke yet, or B, I think we can squeeze some more profits out of them this week, and that's what I'm trying to do with a couple of them. So once those are taken off the charts, I'll show you what I did. That was it for taking off the subscribers list. If you guys enjoy the dailies, if you like the entries and the exits and all that other stuff, try out the subscribers newsletter, $28 a month. And if you really want to do this for yourself, I really recommend you talk to me about the mentoring. Give me a holler, send me an email, whatever it might be. Definitely worth your time and your effort to do the course. If nothing else, can you stick my site up someplace? If you have a favorite trading blog or whatever that you like to visit, if you've been watching the videos for a while and you're like, yeah, okay, not bad, just stick my link up someplace. That'd be great. Really would appreciate that. Always love seeing new viewers to the site. Love helping out people if I can, getting lots of emails and stuff, so it's fun to converse with people about where they're at and where they're going in their trading. Okay, we will see you again, probably not tomorrow, probably again on Wednesday, but you have your levels, follow them closely. We'll see you soon.